What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Ask a CISSP. My name is Ryan Williams, and this is a episode from the other side of the firewall where we talk about the latest and greatest in cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who've made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. Speaking of which, so I have on a cybersecurity solutions architect, the founder of Professor Roger Cyber Lounge, a cybersecurity professional, a podcaster, a public speaker, a cyber mentor, as well as a cyber career coach, Mr. Fundamentals himself, Professor Roger Whyte. How are you doing?
What's up? Great intro, Ryan. Great intro.
No worries. So this is like 4 years in the making. So we've been kind of following each other back and forth on LinkedIn for a while now. But this is the first time we actually had a full conversation. So I greatly appreciate you making the time. And I just really want to get into who you are, the amazing work that you're doing, and then, your background and your experience.
Yeah, Ryan. I'm so I want to give you your kudos. I think we say now give people their flowers, right?
I appreciate
First of
that.
all, your podcast shows, you have a lot of intelligent, highly advanced tech people with CISSPs on your show, right? Showing that we are in the industry, even though you don't see us, right? I like that. And, I saw your growth and I'm very proud of you, brother.
I greatly appreciate that. Like I said, this is like 4 years in the making. Like we started talking when the podcast first started. I think I had like maybe a handful of people who
Yes,
were listening,
exactly.
and we just couldn't sync up because of I was across the pond, right? So it was just timing just wasn't working out. And then finally, I'm here in the States in the middle of a heat wave in the
Yes.
summertime, and you're like, yeah, I like to hop on and we can have a conversation. So again, I greatly appreciate that. For the those who are listening, if you could just kind of break down a little bit of some of the things you have going on in your experience, because you have a lot going on. Like that introduction, that's just the tip of the iceberg, right? Like you've been crafting a lot of great content and providing a lot of great training to people for years now.
Yes. And I've been doing it for free. My mission is to get as much Black people in cyber as possible. I'm sure you're aware of the diversity numbers, right? And the company I work for, their diversity number, they work for a big software company, probably, one of the most influenced and innovative companies, right? And they have 5% out of hundreds of thousands of employees. They only got 5% that are African American, between men and women, right?
Oh, wow.
And they brag. Yeah, listen, we went from 5% to 5.2%. They brag, they put out their reports and look like they're doing something. I don't even know what 0.2% is. Is that like you got a leg? You hide a leg, and you still interviewing the arms? I don't know what it is, but yeah, so it is a real problem, right? And, while we solve that problem, I'm going to try to get us ready. So I train truck drivers, nail technicians, McDonald's workers, Walmart workers. I train them all to transition into cyber,
No,
right?
that's
And it's not
great,
just,
great work.
yeah, no, I was saying it's not just training because they could go to Professor Messer and watch free videos. I mean, YouTube University is an amazing thing, but it's also to coach them. I call it my zero to first paycheck program, where I help you along the way with the nuances and the issues that we have as just being Black in America. I mix that all into the gumbo pot, and then, I come up with a comprehensive training. Because at the end of the day, I want them to get jobs. I don't want them to
Right.
only get certified. I want them to get jobs.
And yeah, I think that's the key. A lot of people are chasing certifications. Like, okay, this cert's going to pay me six figures or whatever the number may be.
Yes.
But it'll pay you $0 if you don't have a network. If you're unable to apply it. So I greatly appreciate that you're not only embodying the great work, but then you're also putting it into practice, right? Because a lot of people get stuck on okay, if I get a piece of paper, I'm going to get the job, and that's just simply
Right.
not the case.
No, no, it's not the case. And there's a lot of things, you know, I'm teaching people that have no corporate experience. They have work experience, but they have no corporate experience. They never worked in a corporate office. You know, a truck driver doesn't work in a corporate office. Walmart doesn't work in
Right.
a, you know, a confined corporate office. So I also teach them corporate etiquette, you know, how to survive in that. As you know, in corporate, there's corporate politics. There's a
Right.
whole, you know, there's etiquettes. There's a certain way you got to send emails. That, you know, all that stuff we talk about. Communication, right?
No, absolutely. I So for me, I didn't have that portion of the struggle, but I do see a lot of people as they come in to corporate having that issue, and it never really dawned on me, right? Because I jumped straight from, like you said, from like McDonald's, right? So my first job was McDonald's, then I did a little bit of
Right,
retail, and then I worked at a bank before I jumped into the military. And then crash course. This is how a business works. This is how things operate. But then I do see a lot of younger people, some older people who come from various backgrounds, and then when they do come to corporate sector, they kind of struggle with it. So I didn't know that was something that you kind of integrated within your training, and I
yeah,
think that is absolutely necessary because again, I'm 41 years old now, right, and half my life in the military. There's a lot of discipline, a lot of corporate business baked into the military. So then when I see it from the other side, I'm like, man, I really want to help this person or mentor this person, but like you were already folding it in there. So bar none, I mean that that is something that needs to be more at the forefront because I think a lot of people just don't understand what they're getting themselves into because there is a lot of politics, there's a lot of uh, red tape, as we like to say in the military. Just like, why is that necessary? Well, I mean, that's the culture, unfortunately.
right, exactly. So you know, so that's me. That's my mission, right? Or pet project, or whatever you want to call it. Right? I want to try to get 10,000 people. That's my goal. 10,000
Oh wow.
African Americans into cyber. Right?
Okay.
Now I'll help
And
other people, but my goal is 10,000 African
right.
Americans.
What so I get the inspiration of what made you want to go on this journey basically because this is a long road. Like 10,000 is a lot of people, and you do have
Yeah,
a humongous network and you have a lot of outreach. But just like so, I asked the same question to Jai Salters has something similar. For him, it's for veterans. He wants to get 10,000 veterans. That is work. So you're doing equivalent of two or more jobs
yeah,
for
yeah.
free. So what drives you to continue to strive for that goal?
Okay. What first drive me is I just wanted to, you know, be a part of the community. Like my job does not help my community at all, right? It makes that company rich. And it makes that company more competitive and more
Right.
innovative. But it doesn't help my people at all, right? So that's one thing. But then my daughter, now she's, you know, of working age, you know, career age, not
Right.
just working at Walmart. She's at career age. So she had a LinkedIn profile and she begged me to be her LinkedIn friend, right? And then
Gotcha.
she saw stuff that I was doing and my post and the response and people saying they're getting certified. She saw this and she said, Dad, I'm proud of you. So now that's my inspiration to make sure
Okay.
my daughter stays proud of me, you know, and
No,
legacy,
that's
right?
great. Yeah, definitely. So that's funny you bring up legacy. That's come up a lot in my recent uh, Ask a CISSP episodes, right? So like when I had on um, Rico Rando, he said the same thing. Like it's for him, it's not about the paycheck; it's about the legacy. And I'm starting to. That's always been a thing, but I've never heard it as vocal as it is right now. Why do you think that change? Is it something that kind of came out of the pandemic, or is it something that so many of these people were like yourself were already doing, and it's just now kind of being coming to the forefront?
Yeah, it wasn't the pandemic. I think the pandemic made it a little easier because
Okay,
everybody side. So a lot of people that wouldn't be on social media are now on social media, right? Because I mean, if you work at Walmart, you can't get on social media that much, right?
right,
And et cetera, et cetera. So now those people that had that that lost their jobs or their jobs are now remote have a time to get on social media, and that really helped your your platform, my platform.
Absolutely.
It was a great little era, right? A great little push. But no, I've been doing it before, right? One day I just woke up and realized I'm the only black person here, and a team of 100. So what's going on here, right? So that was my
Absolutely.
real that was my real push.
Yeah, yeah, and especially having that awareness. I think there's a lot of people who are just now it's starting to dawn on them. Uh, I always bring up the story. So my wife and I, our first so my first duty assignment was Idaho. So I arrived there 5 days earlier than my wife. So we're Mount Home, Idaho. Never been Midwest ever in our lives. Right, we're both from Buffalo, New York. We were always on the East Coast. That type of vibe, melting pot. We're in Idaho. First weekend, we go to the mall, and we're just walking around. It's like something just feels different. Like I don't know what it is. Like maybe it's the mountain air. There's the space and what have you. And as we're in the parking lot, a black family drives by, and they're in a sedan, and they all turned. Like it's a car of five people. They all turned and looked at us, and they waved. And that's when the world just like that you see in the movies where everything pans out real far.
Yeah,
We were the only people here. That's why
exactly.
it felt so different, right?
Right,
So it's I think a lot of people are starting to have that realization that
right.
yeah, this cybersecurity, like to be with the company that you work, right? Like these humongous $1 trillion companies to only be at 5 point something percent is kind of crazy. And I see there was a big push during the pandemic to try to plus those numbers up. But as soon as the money went dry, a lot, not to say it's your company, but a lot of companies, that's the first switch they flipped was DE and I is out the door. And then next is the cybersecurity team. You're like, whoa, wait a minute. These are two initiatives you need to be at the forefront. Like, what is going
Right.
on? So it's good to see that yourself and several other people I've had on the show are still making that drive, still making that push, even though it seems to be that the pendulum is kind of swinging the other way. Hopefully, there is a course correction.
Mhm.
Um, so one of your initiatives that I do find to be very, I want to say cool, right? I don't think that's what the kids are saying nowadays, but is the Cyber Allowance. So I saw you kind of start that and get it rolling. How's that been? Like, what has the reception been for the Cyber Lounge specifically, and how has it surprised you in some ways?
Oh yeah, it's been great. I set up the lounge because I wanted to be, a lounge is a chill area that we go to,
Right.
right? We go there to network, we go there to party, we go there to learn, right? So I wanted to set up that atmosphere, right? So that way it's inviting for people to come in. And now has grown to a community where experts are helping newbies and newbies have a place to ask questions without being judged. Right? So it's a real cool atmosphere, a lounge-like place where you can learn, right? And collaborate and communicate with each other.
Yeah, I could definitely appreciate that, especially earlier on in my cyber journey, right? Having that ability to feel a little bit more comfortable and then be able to ask those questions. Because
Yeah,
in IT and cybersecurity has always been nicer and kinder to me. But IT started out fresh, like everybody's me. You're
right.
like, well, but why? You're
Yeah,
like, oh, did you Google that? Like, you got to figure this out and what have you. It's nice to have a place where you can go and get actual mentorship, so you can ask those questions and not feel like you're asking quote unquote a dumb question. So I can definitely appreciate that.
yeah.
I'll be remiss because I didn't ask up front. And it's my fault. What is your specific niche in cybersecurity? In case somebody's wondering,
Oh
like,
yeah,
okay,
I'm a senior cybersecurity architect, meaning that I draw out the whole cybersecurity infrastructure, the plan. I meet with the CISOs to go over policies and implementation and design, and yeah, that's what I do. So
um,
you could say in, I guess, corporate terms, because I work for a software vendor. In
right
corporate terms, I would call either a BCISO,
there it
right?
is.
Right? And then also I act as a virtual CISO because I go out to my company's clients, big clients, and help them with their security. posture and security solution.
So you've had a pretty amazing career, and to be like that, you're at the pretty much the pinnacle, right? Being
Mhm.
the BCISO,
Yeah.
the solutions architect. How did that journey begin? Like, what got you into cybersecurity or IT, and then into cybersecurity?
Yeah. What got me into it, I was an accountant, right? I mean, I went to school for my parents, right? Because both my parents are college educated. My dad's a doctor. My mom's a civil engineer, right? So so they forced me into college. Now, I didn't know what I wanted to do. There was no technology when I started, right? There was nothing. There was this abstract thing called computer science. Didn't look that exciting. So I said, okay, what's the best thing? As a kid, my grandmother and my grandfather had a restaurant where I worked in and I did different things. And I liked working, with the money and the books and all that. So I said, you know what? I'll just take business, I'll take a business degree, right? So, I got my MBA. I got a job at Pricewater, and it was extremely boring. I mean, it was more boring than learning it.
Gotcha.
So, so there was days I didn't want to go to work, and that's the worst feeling in the world. Like I didn't want. I'm saying, what is it's day already? Like, I didn't want to wake up. I didn't want to go to work. Right? It was painful. And then someone from IT in that company was talking about IT, and I said, that sounds interesting. He told me what to do. Back then, there were tech schools. I don't know if you remember tech schools like ITT and
Right,
you know,
DeVry. Yeah.
yeah, right. So there was tech schools. So I went to a tech school, got my A plus Network plus, and I got a job working at NASDAQ, which makes sense because I, I have a financial background. So they figured, okay, we'll get someone with a financial background to to do help desk, right? With to our stockbrokers. I was working on the Nasdaq floor that you see on the TV. It's like
Right.
hundreds of PCs on that floor, probably about 200, 300 monitors. So I was working there, and I loved it. And the stockbrokers would curse us out every day because if a computer goes down, by the time we get it back up, they
Right.
lost
It's
like
money.
20 points,
Wow.
millions of dollars, right? So they'll curse us out, but I loved it. I just loved, you know, fixing it, the adventure, because in accounting, nothing changes. One plus one been two since I don't even know, right? Before Jesus, right? So, nothing changes in accounting really, right? The only, I'd say, major change was cryptocurrency. And
Right.
that's like hundreds of years, right, of accounting. Right. So, um, I like this industry. It changes my, my job role and what I want to do changes every, 5 to 10 years. Right.
Right.
I'm on a new path. Cybersecurity is basically my new path. Right. But now there's AI coming out. See? So now me and you, we got to learn AI, right?
Yeah.
No,
Quickly.
yeah. So you understand? I love that, and also it's an equal playing field because, even though we have racial barriers, if I learn AI and there's no other people to choose from, they have to hire me, right? It's not enough people, right? So I like that, it becomes not about color, it becomes about skills.
Absolutely. And I do want to. I want to get to AI and talk to you about that because I find it fascinating. It's something I've really latched onto, and I believe when you are excited about something, it's so much easier to learn it. Like you
Yeah.
said, who wants to be bored? But first, uh, I wanted to ask the question. So, did your financial background aided you in the help desk for the Nasdaq floor, right? Do you think that sowed the seeds for being a BCISO because of that interaction you had with people at that level?
Oh, you talk about help desk?
Right, but in that environment, right? Like help desk is trial by fire anyway. But to
Yeah.
be like for you, that was crunch time because like you said, like literally people were losing a ton of money if you weren't there to support. Do you think
Yes.
that helped elevate you to where's your current position? Like, did it have any influence on that?
Yeah, it had some influence. One, the troubleshooting. right? To, IT is just now getting out their shell and starting to
Right.
talk to people, right? Who used to be buried underground
Yeah.
or,
As far away as
but
possible.
right. So that customer service, emotional IQ, I learned that through help desk, right? Because you deal with people that are always angry
Right.
when they get to you. So you have to fix their problem. You have to calm them down. You have to, see what the real issue is, right? So yeah, and that helped me with my wife because my wife sometimes act like a help desk person calling, and I'd be like, wait, what's the real problem here? Is it the
Right.
mouse or is it, you having problems with PowerPoint? Which one, right?
Right.
So yeah, so it really taught me how to, and also taught me how to work in a corporate environment, right?
No, absolutely. And I can only imagine, like, because any image you see of the floor is just people shouting and waving and all the above, right?
Yeah,
So there's a lot happening. It's like it's basically Vietnam for finances, in my, in
yeah,
my opinion.
and
So no,
also
like, I can see that definitely making
and
you
one
see something.
and one more thing that really helped me with cyber is to pay close attention to detail because you're troubleshooting stuff, and if you miss something, then you're going to spend hours trying to troubleshoot something that and it only took 5 minutes, right?
Right.
So you have to pay real close attention to detail.
No, absolutely. So no, that's interesting. Like everyone I talk to has a very interesting entry point into cybersecurity, whether it be through
Right,
IT or some other means, right? I think you're the first person I talked to who had a finance degree. It's been theater, myself, psychology, before eventually
right,
a master's in cyber. I want to say, man, what was another crazy one? There's so many different adjacent ones where people are just like, this was my entryway in, and because of this background, it kind of helped me to interface with people. Because being where you're at, like you have a lot of people who are very technical, uh, but they can't speak to people. You have to be both
right.
technical and be able to communicate with business leaders who make those decisions. So again, you have a lot of information, a lot of experience that you're able to give to your students. So I do appreciate that because it's not just you regurgitating textbook knowledge. It's I have these experiences. So I definitely appreciate that portion of your teaching. So what other initiatives do you have going on?
Now, um, all the people I trained on level one. My goal is to keep them involved, be involved in their life for at least 3 to 3 years, 3 to 5 years. So
Okay.
right now, I meet them at level zero. I'm just using levels just to make it, for
Right.
conversation, right? I meet them at level zero. They know nothing. Then I train them up to level one. They get a job. Then I want to train them up to level two and level three. I want to train them up to management, right? My goal with everybody I touch, I want them to make six figures. I want them to be part of the six-figure club. Financial stability is is part of freedom. When people say freedom, financial stability is part of that, right? So, I want to make sure in this industry, it's really financial stability. If you think back when we was eating mayonnaise sandwiches, right? Now today, we're eating steak. We could feed our family, we could buy a house, and it's not just survival stuff. We can invest. We could, there's a lot of other things we could do now that we couldn't have done before, right? So, so I want everybody to get in. So I want to stay with them for 3 to 5 years and just help them grow.
After you've been with a person, they've started to learn the craft. You're there to mentor them and what have you. You said 3 years or so. You want to see them work their way up, eventually get into leadership positions and things of that nature. What's your ultimate goal for yourself? When are you going to be like, okay, I can rest now, or I can pivot to something else, or is it this is just what you want to do until eventually you're living on your private island or something like just
Yeah, yeah, I like
out
to,
fishing.
yeah, no, I would like to take this to the next level. to make this national, to
Okay.
really help, you know, because once I hit the 10,000, I'm at 5,000 now. I know I'm going to want to do more. So
5,000.
yeah,
Wow, that's impressive. That is a lot of people. So again, you're doing amazing things out there. Like 5,000 people. Like for me, if that were my initiative and what have you, like I would feel great because I've hit the quote unquote halfway mark, but it seems to be daunting. Like another 5,000 people.
yeah, and it's done with I have great volunteers, but we're a small little army, right? So I want to expand it, get more people, get more donors, you know, so we could expand and do more.
No, absolutely. So if somebody wanted to help out with the cause, if they wanted to help you with the initiative, how would they reach out to you, whether it be financial or just help?
Yeah, yeah, I have LinkedIn, which is my main vehicle, right, to connect with me. Mm, and yeah, that's the best way.
Okay, no,
It's
that
easy, you know.
yeah, I love the platform. Again, that's how I before LinkedIn, I didn't have as wide of a net, obviously, but also just the amount of resources. Like you said,
Right,
YouTube University is amazing, but there's one thing to take all that book knowledge and all those things to get certifications. It's another to be like I'm learning from you. I'm learning from all the people that I speak to just try to elevate my own uh, you know, whatever that be, my path or my goals or what have you. I see
right,
people like yourself, like 10,000 people. You already have 5,000. Again, that's amazing. The lounge, you're also an adjunct, so you're also a teacher at the collegiate level. What inspired you to jump into teaching professionally?
Oh yeah, I wasn't even thinking about teaching. My mentor, right? He was like, "Hey, we have, that taught me, right? And we're still friends to this day, and it's about 20 years. He was like, "Hey, one of the instructors got got hurt, and I want you to teach this Microsoft class." Now, I do it at work, what he wanted me to teach, right? I was a system administrator. I managed
Right.
the servers, the SQL, the Exchange, I was part of that team. So I did it at work, but I never taught before. I didn't even know what that was, right? Or how you do that. So he says, "Oh no, I'll help you. I'll be there." Right? He gave me all the materials the week before. I studied them all. And then he was like, "Okay, I'll be in the class, a couple of classes I'll do with you, right? I might even do one to show you." He really gassed me, right? So I got into the class. He introduced me. He taught some housekeeping stuff with the school and everything. This was a new class starting. 10 minutes. He stayed with me a couple of minutes, let me introduce myself, and he never came back. And I know that was probably the worst class ever, right? Because I was struggling with the PowerPoints, it was just crazy. But for some reason, they liked me. I don't know. They came back the next day. So,
There you
you
go.
know, that's how yeah. So after that, I loved it. I loved how it, it just helped people. It's like a rush, you know?
No,
So,
absolutely.
so I,
It's
I, I
that
did it
it's
ever
that
since.
light bulb. Yeah, it's that
Yeah.
light bulb. When you're teaching somebody something and whatever you've said finally made it click and you can see it in their face, you're just like,
Yes.
oh, there it
Yes.
is. Yeah, I miss it. One day I'm gonna find the time to get back to it. But since I got back to the States, family and all this other good stuff, I'm just like, I'm not a geo bachelor over in Turkey. Nothing to
Yes.
do.
No, you should teach. I encourage you. You could co-teach with me on some workshops and stuff just to get, because also part of the lounge is to get us more involved in cybersecurity, get us teaching, get us presenting at conferences. That's why when I go to conferences, I big them up, right? So you can see, okay, I see, if you see it, you believe it,
Right.
right? Right? But if you don't see yourself there, you don't think it could happen. So, I try to be that champion of, hey, look, I'm doing it. You can do it too.
No, absolutely.
But
So
yeah, you definitely should speak, should start speaking, presenting.
Like it's crazy. So at the every year before the year is out, I always sit down and make a list of what I want to do for the next year, right? So I jotted down some stuff. I did a little bit of mind mapping. I said, you know what? I want to have at least one person on a month on Ask a CISSP. I want to start that back up. And I was like, I want to do at least one event quarterly, whether it be speaking or something, right? Wrote it down. Didn't really think about it. The first week of January, like calendar started lighting up. People started signing up. I was super like again blessed. I was just like, man, this is amazing. Like you're the last person from that slate of people. Like so, I finally hit the end of that list,
Hmm.
which is like double, triple what I had on previous Ask CSSP. But then the events, so people started reaching out to me, and then I started to just every now and then I would just say, hey, do you need somebody to talk or speak, whatever. And I've had multiple events pop up as well. So yeah, just putting it out there to the world, speaking it to existence, for anybody who's listening, can really change your trajectory, make you more available to opportunities when they arise. Because I think it's partially just convincing yourself you can do it, and then the other part is make yourself available. Right? You can't say I want to do something and then not be available for it. So
Right.
yeah, definitely. Like if something were to pop up, please let me know. I would definitely love to help out, especially within what you're doing to the future, the next 5,000 people.
Yeah.
That will be amazing. Before I let you go, I got two things. So thing number one, I want to talk about AI because I find it fascinating. I love talking to people about it and getting their take, their ideas, what they're currently doing with it. And then before we get out of here, I want to land the plane on what you're doing outside of and public speaking and teaching and all the other like
Yes.
with the 5 minutes you have left in your life to do something else. I definitely want to talk about that. But first is AI. So what are you studying for something? Are you teaching something? Are you looking into something? Like I'm always fascinated because somebody always brings up something. I'm like, man, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. I work for a software company that is innovative in AI. We've been using AI for maybe about almost 10 years, right?
Right.
So the generative part is what hit the news. The AI had been out for a while, but the front end part, where it deals with the users, has hit the news. So I'm involved in the, I want to start teaching classes in AI, right? At least fundamental classes, right? So that
Okay.
way we are prepared when we walk in, knowing what AI is and knowing how companies are really integrating their processes in AI.
No,
I just
absolutely.
came back from a conference called Digi Digimon, which is a digital marketing. Has nothing to
Okay.
do with tech, but they all talked about AI. And it's not a tech, it's a marketing convention,
Right.
but they all talk heavily about AI.
Yeah, it's
So,
it's sweeping the world by storm. Yeah.
right, right. So non-technical departments like HR and marketing and all that, they talking about how can we use AI, right? And they're embracing it. So I want to make sure we don't miss that boat or that bus, right? We don't miss
Right.
that bus, right?
No,
And that great
absolutely.
opportunity because AI, yeah, it's going to take away some jobs, but those jobs should have been taken away anyway. And it's going to create new jobs.
No, so because yeah, a lot of people are like, oh, it's going to take our jobs. It's going to do this. Now, someone who understands or at least has a basic concept of how to use AI to be more efficient or effective, they're going to take your
Mhm.
job. So yeah, I'm the same as you. I encourage everybody to learn about it. My son actually has part of his summer camp is he's going to coding camp, right? So every week he's doing something different. So he has
Good.
some Roblox, Minecraft.
Yes.
He's learning robotics, but the last week is AI. And I'm just like, not only for his own sake to kind of get a grasp because he plays around with OpenAI a little bit because we have an account we use for the family. I firmly believe that he's going to have a better grasp of it than I do fairly quickly, and then he's going to be
Yeah.
teaching me something. and that,
That's
I
cool.
can't wait. Nine. He's 9 years
Yeah.
old. Yeah,
That's great. That's
yeah. I'm
great.
super excited. And he's super excited. So that makes me even more like, okay, this is
Yeah.
definitely the right thing for him because, you never want your. I don't want to put anything on my child. I want to make him like you're going to like this. I'd rather find something he likes, which was him making Roblox games and things of that nature, and then use that as a catalyst to learn new things, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, he showed me the other day. He was sitting there, he was doing the equation for velocity, and I was just like, what do you use this for? And he was like, oh, this is how we get the characters on the screen to move in the direction we want them to move. I'm just like, you know way more than I can teach right now. Like
Right,
you
right.
surpassed me on this one. I was like, I'm out. But no, I find it fascinating, and again, like for you being in the seat of where you're working at, and seeing the evolution of AI and now how people are using it, has to be pretty eye opening on your side as well. Because yeah, we most people weren't even speaking about AI 2-3 years ago. But like you said, like companies
Yeah,
such as the ones you work for have been working with it for a decade. I think I saw something the other day, and it helped make it click a little bit more for me, because I was in the same boat as most people. Like, where did this come from? How come we weren't really talking about this? And the lady who was doing it was like kind of like a TED talk. She says that nothing's really changed. She said what happened was a lot of people were able to speak machine. They knew the ones and zeros. She said we finally taught a machine how to speak human, and that's when
yes,
everything blew up,
right.
to where you're able to interface with it now. And I was like, that's the missing link.
Uh,
I was like, what changed? And I find it fascinating. I can't wait. But I do feel for some people are going to lose side hustles. But then, like you said, there's going to be growth and new jobs available. There'll be things that we never thought of before, and they should jump on that. Like they should be learning AI so they can, ride that wave into whatever the future holds for us. But again, I gotta land the plane on what are you doing for yourself? Like aside from all of your great work, helping people join the field, break into the field, learn more about it, podcasting, teaching, like all
mhm.
that great stuff. What do you do for yourself?
For myself, there was no PhDs when I went to college. Well, there was no real tech stuff. Now there's cybersecurity PhDs. So I want to go and get one,
Okay.
just to say I accomplished that. So yeah, that's what I'm working on. I'll be working on getting
Now
a
that
a,
so
a master's and a PhD in cybersecurity.
again, that is amazing.
Yeah,
So you're now, I think you're the second or third person I was working on their doctorate in cybersecurity, and God bless y'all, because your
right.
boy is tired. I started an Azure AI fundamental class, and I'm just like, this is as much as I can handle right now. My brain is tired. Good, but I can see, man, listen, I know I need to go back. I know I need to achieve either that or another master's or something like that. I was
hmm
thinking maybe an MBA, but what what is going to kind of help you to the finish line? What is powering you through this marathon that will be your doctorate?
What's powering me? I don't even know. You know, but I guess it's more. I won't say bragging, but more saying, that this is the highest pinnacle in education, right?
Right.
But there was nothing that really I wanted that attracted me as a PhD, right? I didn't want a PhD in finance. I have an MBA. I didn't want to go any further than that, right? But when I saw cyber come out, I'm like, okay, cool, because I live it. So
Right.
it'd be no problem for me to get a PhD. And part of the PhD program, Ryan, is the CISSP,
Here you go.
So, we already got that. So, it'd be a teacher, especially you going for a master. They use your certification knowledge, they use that
Right.
as a class. So a master's is a CISSP to you. So it'd be a no-brainer.
Maybe one day I'll get back in the
Yeah,
seat. But uh, for me, aside from the uh, the prestige with it, because I believe like anybody I know who has a doctorate, I'm calling them doctor, whatever, either their last name or the first name. Like you earned that. That is now a
hmm
title that and it can be annoying, right? Like I have a friend who's
yeah,
like, "Don't call me that." Like, no, you're a doctor, so you're gonna be called doctor, whatever. That's what's gonna happen. But
right.
aside from that, because people will get sick of me for the first year, oh yeah, I'm putting doctor on everything. But after that, it really is to earn your doctorate. You're basically writing a book. You're basically doing some very unique research. You
Yeah,
you have yeah you've you're now a subject matter expert in whatever you're pursuing. So for me, I think that would be my hook. But I got I got 3 kids. Some of these kids got to get in college. Like one is a freshman. Maybe when the next one becomes a freshman, I'll think about it.
Right. Okay. Good.
But right
Good.
now, no, it's not part of my calling right now. But no, so amazing stuff on the podcasting tip. So do you have a reoccurring podcast, or is it
Yeah. Yeah. We have a
okay?
podcast called Career Thursdays, right? That we go over career, help people with their questions that they have. We review their resume, we do mock
Okay,
interviews. We just go over a gamut of things that they're going to come across, right, on their journey. And we
that's
and we
great.
do that every Thursday. We have hiring managers come in, and so that way they could talk to them. We have
Right,
directors, we have managers that come in and talk to them and say, hey, this is what I'm looking for. This is what's important, right? Forget all the fluff. This is what's
right.
important, right?
That's
Because,
perfect.
yeah,
Yeah, because a lot of people are feeling kind of overwhelmed right now. Like the market is crazy. You talk to a lot of people who uh, they have all of the components. They just don't know who to go to, how to network, and things of that nature.
right,
So it's good that you
exactly.
provide that type of not
Yeah,
only mentorship but also just oversight. Right? People can actually see the process and kind of figure out like
yeah,
how does this work, because that's something they don't teach. Unfortunately, anywhere. Like even when I was leaving the military, they did a really good job at preparing us. There's the preparing you through class, and it's preparing you through actual life experience. I tell a lot of people like uh, I left the military feeling very overqualified, very confident, and then I was on application number 50, and I was starting
right,
to not feel as confident, but I didn't understand that how to leverage my network and things of that nature. Even though it was wide, I didn't know how to use it properly
right.
until I hit that point, and that's when someone sat me down and was like, "You're doing it wrong." And this is what you should be doing. So it's good to see that
Yeah.
you're already broadcasting that to people so they can already get their foot in the door, right? Understand how it works. And where can they find your podcast?
It's on Zoom, right? We have the link on LinkedIn. Sometimes I do LinkedIn Live, but I wanted to be more interactive. LinkedIn Live is not really, as interactive as Zoom is. So we switched it back to Zoom. But the link is on LinkedIn, all right? So if you look me up on LinkedIn, you'll see all the posts, right,
No,
on
absolutely. Well,
there.
I'll make sure that all your links are in the description as well, so people can be able to
Yeah,
find you and find your content because it's gold, right? Like you said, LinkedIn University is great, but yours is more tailored and streamlined. Like this is what you need to do. This is my experience as well as
right.
like you said, you have an army of people who've already helped 5,000 people make their way in, right? With another 5,000 people, which someone who's listening could be in that group as well,
Yeah,
who are on their way on a path with a mentor that's going to stick with you for years to come. Again, all admirable, and you're really doing great work. So I definitely wanted to have you on the show in the spotlight and highlight what you're doing because I believe
that's
it to be so important, not only to the culture but also just to the career field in general. Because like especially with the rise of AI and like you said, stability, which we don't have much of right now,
yeah,
to have some knowledge and to be able to find a foothold within this career and then do great things will bode well for a person who is an up and comer all the way into, like you said, legacy. Like it's about you
right,
setting up the future for you and your family, and all the above can be done. Especially within this space, and like you said, we're early front runners, right? We're at the beginning of a lot of these new waves, especially when it comes to AI and things of that nature. And being one of the few people in the room uh, bodes well. Like you can definitely be able to captain your own ship and take it far.
right.
So I think you're doing again amazing work, and I definitely want to highlight that. Thank you for taking the time to be on the show.
Oh, thank you, Ryan.
Yeah, absolutely. So uh, definitely check out all of Professor Roger Whyte's content. Check out his podcast. Click on all the links that will be in the description. Definitely support him if you want to help in some way, whether it be financial or you want to step in and also help in teaching and mentoring things of that nature, definitely reach out to Professor Whyte and be part of this what we can call a movement, right? Of breaking into cybersecurity, of making this career field more diverse. So definitely
Right.
hit up all of the websites that go by our name, whether it be the other side of the firewall, the other side of the FW, or Ask a CISSP. Give me a personally. I'm at RY Security Guy. That's RY Security Guy. You can find me on pretty much every social media platform you can think of, but especially on LinkedIn. And you, Professor Whyte, where can they find you?
LinkedIn is the best place. From LinkedIn, you have my links because I have a Discord. I have other different platforms we use,
Yeah,
and I just use LinkedIn as I guess the
like the
front
anchor.
desk. Yeah.
Gotcha. Gotcha. No, that's perfect. So yeah, so definitely check out all of the content. Like I said, hit up all of the social media platforms. Leave us some feedback. We greatly appreciate that if possible. Like we have a pretty good patronage or whatever you want to call it, but we have no feedback, man. Leave me some stars out there, some sort. And then stay tuned for more to come. Again, Monday, Tuesday, our topics, Wednesday, discussion. Thursdays, just like this, Ask a CISSP. And then Fridays, everything else, movie, books, games, all that good stuff, where we go to unwind. Stay safe, stay secure.